What's up, guys? It's TimmyT2009, and I am back with another Thomas & Friends 3D printed Bluebird review. So, if you remember in my last video, we took a look at all the Bluebird CGI characters I've made, including my personal favorite, Ashima from The Great Race. But now, we're going to be taking a trip back in time. We're going all the way back to the year 2000. We're taking a look at one of my all-time favorite movies. In fact, this is my favorite movie of all time. The one and only Thomas and the Magic Railroad. Yes, it's finally happening. We're looking at the Bluebird trains from Thomas and the Magic Railroad. Possibly the greatest Thomas and Friends movie of all time. Now, yes, I know this movie did not do well in the box office. Yes, I know a lot of people hate this movie for reasons. And yes, I know that this movie was a big failure, but that doesn't stop me from loving this movie, and that didn't stop a young generation of children loving this show. Yeah, that's right. Even though that this movie did not do well at the box office, it did appeal more to children, and it did do good in merchandise, and it got more people hooked onto the show. So, here we have the 5 characters from Thomas and the Magic Railroad. Yes, I know there are more characters, including the human characters like Burnett Stone and Mr. Conductor, and a few of the other classic characters, but I know not every character has appeared in the movie, which is a bit sad. But hey, I'm glad we still got characters like Gordon and Henry and James and Percy, and including the titular character Thomas. But we got all these new, cool, awesome characters. Lady, Splatter and Dodge, and Diesel 10. Now, do I love these characters? Absolutely, and I would say these are the best parts of the movie. Also Thomas as well, but we'll talk about him later. So, now, there's a bit of a history as to how Thomas and the Magic Railroad was made and what was originally going to happen. Like, there's a bit of a production history. Like, I know production didn't do that well, which is probably one of the reasons why this movie didn't do as good as the original Thomas series. So, what made Burt Allcroft want to make this? Well, it was during season, 5, this was after, the Reverend Audrey passed away. So, in season 5, Burt Allcroft decided to make her own original stories. Although she didn't write the stories, I think someone else did that, but they made it so that it's an adventurous, action-packed, intense season. So that way people could be hyped for Thomas and the Magic Railroad, I'm guessing. I think that's the reason. So I think that's one of the things that Burt Allcroft decided to do, but ever since Thomas the Tank Engine gained popularity, Burt Allcroft always wanted to make a Thomas and Friends movie on the big screen, which is pretty exciting, am I right? So she decided to make Thomas and the Magic Railroad. Now, it did take some time, we didn't get the movie until 2000, but I think production started in 1996. Excuse me. So in 1996, they originally started filming. There was going to be a few other things added to it. I think the movie was supposed to be a bit longer. I think there was supposed to be more focus on the human characters, which I'll talk about later. And I think there was supposed to be another antagonist. Again, I'll also talk about later. There's quite a bit of lore behind Thomas and Magic Railroad and a bit of a production history. I think there was a work print made for the Blu-ray edition of Thomas and Magic Railroad so that people could know how to do reviews on this movie and give them their thoughts, which I think is pretty interesting. Alright, so, enough stalling. Let's actually dive into the Thomas and the Magic Railroad trains from Bluebird, made by me. Alright, let's go! So, I think we're going to start off with arguably the best villain of Thomas the Tank Engine and Friends, and possibly the best villain in general for me. This is Diesel 10. Now, I actually really love Diesel 10. I was a bit afraid of him as a kid, but now that I'm older, I actually love this guy. He is so, awesome, and I think people would agree that Diesel 10 carries the film. Alright, so, who is Diesel 10 as a character? Well, he's this big, menacing, BR-class warship. He has a giant crushing claw named Pinchy. He has a huge, scary face. I love that. Now, he's a bit Wait, I think he used to be in good condition, but, like, he does have a bit of dirt on him, which I think makes him more appealing. Like, I think this is, like, a more accurate representation of Diesel 10, since I think he was weathered in the actual movie. And he does have the metal rollers on the bottom, but I really do love Diesel 10 as a character, so his main goal is to, like, destroy the Lost Engine and basically destroy the entire, like, railway and, like, get rid of all steam engines that the diesels can take over. Now, I already, like, think that's a pretty intense motivation there, so basically he wants to get rid of Thomas and his friends, and he wants to destroy the Lost Engine, who is Lady here. And I have to admit, like, Diesel 10 has a pretty, like, menacing voice. Like, I think Neil Crone does a better job than Keith Scott. Yeah, originally Diesel 10 was supposed to be voiced by Keith Scott, but I think Neil Crone does a better job at Diesel 10. I think it gives him, like, this pretty creepy and menacing gangster voice. And if you don't know, Neil Crone also voices Gordon in Thomas and the Magic Railroad and Splatter, but I really love the way he captures Diesel 10's voice. Like, I think he did a pretty awesome job at Diesel 10's voice. I think Diesel 10 also has a very nice and scary looking design. Like, he actually is based off the BR class warship, but he just has that claw added to him. And I have to say, this is one of the best Diesel 10 faces ever. And it's really a shame that they changed it in the CGI series. So, now there is a bit of, like, difference between this Diesel 10 and the Diesel 10 from the original cut. So, what I am a bit disappointed about is that Diesel 10 wasn't originally supposed to be the villain of Thomas and Magic Railroad. Yeah, big shocker. I know. So, originally, Diesel 10 was just supposed to be a side villain for some reason. But I'm going to be honest, I actually think he would be a bigger threat than who I'm about to talk about. And yes, now, P.T. Boomer was actually supposed to be the original villain. He is Burnett Stone's childhood friend, and I think the reason why he is evil is because there's, like, this girl who Burnett Stone fell in love with, and, no wait, P.T. Boomer fell in love with this girl, but she ended up marrying Burnett Stone, which made him upset, so now his main goal is to destroy the Lost Engine? Okay, where do I even start with P.T. Boomer as a character? Now, I do not hate P.T. Boomer, don't get me wrong, I do think he would be an interesting character, but let's be honest here. In the original cut, there was supposed to be more focus on the human characters than there were with Thomas and his friends. Like, I think the original plan was to, like, have the humans show up for the first 3 minutes, and then have Thomas show up for the later part? What? Dude, like, isn't that, like, I don't know, like, I'm actually glad that the final cut actually showed Thomas before the human characters, because, like, there's already, like, a messy plot with this movie. Like, the plot is so confusing, which is one reason people hate this movie. Because, like, there's, like, 3 different plots going on at once. You've got Thomas the Tank Engine on the island of Sodor. You've got Shining Time Station with Mr. Conductor, who I actually love as a character. And then you've got Burnett Stone, like, having this lost engine, like, that they're trying to find. Okay, I'm actually glad that the plot isn't as messy as what we could have had before, but, like, I actually agree with the Unlucky Tug that the work print would not have made the movie better. Like, I feel like that if they actually did make the original cut, then there would be more focus on human characters, and there would be less focus on Thomas. Then there would be 4 plots if you count P.T. Boomer trying to find the lost engine before Diesel 10, mind you. And let's be honest, what is so good about P.T. Boomer? Like, what makes him better than Diesel 10 in your opinion? Like, if you love P.T. Boomer, I respect your opinion, but still, my point is that I actually think Diesel 10 would have been a better threat than Thomas and Magic Railroad. And I'm actually glad that he is the final villain and that he's the main villain. Like, I'm sorry, but we all came here to watch Thomas the Tank Engine. He is the main character in the show. His name is literally right in the title, Thomas and the Magic Railroad. We all came here to watch Thomas the Tank Engine. We did not pay to see, like, human characters in a movie that is about Thomas. Like, let's be honest, what would P.T. Boomer add to the movie? Like, I'm pretty sure he would have just, like, weighed the entire movie down and, like, basically, like, take away more focus of the character we want to see on screen. We all want Thomas the Tank Engine to go on his magical adventure, and we want to see Diesel 10 trying to find the lost engine and destroy her. Like, come on, like, what is it with people, like, taking a character that is on the front cover and just, like, not focusing on them at all and making them a side character? They already did that with Cars 2. They did that with, Indiana Jones and the Dial of Destiny with Helena Shaw. And then they did it with Thomas the Tank Engine. Like, I'm sorry, Brett Allcroft. We all love Thomas the Tank Engine, which is the reason why we love your show. And let's be honest, we already had Shine Time Station, which focused on human characters, and the stories were just stuff that Mr. Conductor told. I don't get why you would, like, try to, like, take away focus of Thomas the Tank Engine and, like, replace him with human characters. I love the human characters and all, but I'm sorry, like... Sorry, but we all wanted to see Thomas the Tank Engine, and we all wanted to see Diesel 10, like, trying to find his goal. These two literally have, like, the same goal as each other. They both want to find the lost engine. But could you imagine what would happen if these two met? I bet you they would both be having an argument over who wants to destroy the lost engine first. Like, they would have some sort of, like, fight for the lost engine. Like, let's be honest, what is he gonna do to destroy the lost engine? He does not have a crushing claw like Diesel 10. He can't, like, destroy stuff with a claw like Diesel 10. Like, all he has is, like, his excavator so he can dig underground to find the lost engine. But Diesel 10 can really crush scrap metal. Like, even more than scrap metal if he wanted to, but I think he strikes more as an opposing threat. And he's, like, literally more, like, scarier than P.T. Boomer. I'm surprised they didn't cut him from the movie, and they cut P.T. Boomer, because he was too frightening for the test audience. But let's be honest, P.T. Boomer is not that scary. Like, I don't see what there is about P.T. Boomer that would make him frightening for little kids. He's just a human with a pilot hat and a leather jacket. Like, I don't see what is so scary about P.T. Boomer. Like, he doesn't have, like, a creepy voice as Diesel 10, but still, I do think it was a bit unfair to add P.T. Boomer, but I think that the Unlucky Tug said it best. He would just, like, make the movie more boring. Like, I do not want this movie to be a bigger mess than it is. I want this movie to be good. I wanted it to succeed. I didn't want it to fail in the box office. Okay, that was a pretty long rant, but yeah, my point is that I really love Diesel 10 as a character, and I actually think he was one of the best parts of the movie. Okay, I'm sorry if I got frustrated there, but if you do love P.T. Boomer, then I fully respect your opinion. You are allowed to love P.T. Boomer, but I'm just not one of those people, along with the Unlucky Tug. If you love P.T. Boomer, tell me in the comments below. If you love Diesel 10 more, tell me in the comments below. What are your thoughts on P.T. Boomer? Please tell me. Alright. I'm calmed down. Anyways, I think that's all I have to say about Diesel 10. So, with that rant out of the way, let's start off... Okay, I guess we'll talk about his goons, Splatter and Dodge, who I actually really love as characters. So, who are Splatter and Dodge? Well, originally George was supposed to be Diesel 10's henchman, and I'm gonna be honest, I do really wish George was in the movie, because I think these four as a group would be unstoppable, like, with George's, like, flattening wheels and Diesel 10's crushing claw. Let's be honest, George has done some pretty serious damage in this show. Like, he basically crashed into Sir Handel's train as they were racing. He made Thomas crash into a chicken coop when he flattened the road, like the tracks. And he made Gordon crash into one of Duck's cars that was stuck on the points. Like, George is, like, a pretty menacing, like, steamroller and pretty threatening villain in Thomas. Like, I know he might not be a villain, but he's still an antagonist because he wants to, like, destroy all steam engines and, like, turn the railway into a road. Like, I think that's his motivations. Like, yes, I have seen Steamroller, I have seen the episode By George, and I have seen Lady Hat's Birthday Party, and I really do think George is one of my favorite characters of the show. He's probably one of my favorite antagonists as well, along with Dolores and Spencer from Hero of the Rails and Sailor John from Sora's Legend of the Lost Treasure, I think Thomas has made a lot of amazing villains. But anyways, so yeah, George was supposed to be Diesel 10's henchman, but they ended up making Splatter and Dodge instead. I'm gonna be honest, I really do love Splatter and Dodge. I think their voices are pretty funny, like, I think they have really nice designs. I like that they're a recolor of Devious Diesel, because they're both BR Class 08 shunters, like Arian Burt, which I will not talk about because I'm not a fan of Arian Burt. That's just me, but if you like Arian Burt, that's fine. So Splatter is basically like a dark green and... No, this is Splatter and this is Dodge. Sorry if I got mixed up, but I couldn't paint their names on their sides because they're too small. Like, for those of you who have not seen my Bluebird Thomas reviews, these things are like a size of a quarter. And if you want to watch my other Thomas reviews, please check it out. I really appreciate it. But anyways, I don't know what else there's to say about Splatter and Dodge, but what makes me love them? Well, there's a scene where they, like, I think they quit with Diesel 10, because, like, there's a line where Diesel 10 says, "Splodge, come and destroy it." And they say, "No, do it yourself. We don't like you." So I think that's implying that they might have reformed, or they're just refusing to listen to Diesel 10 because of how evil he is. Like, if you, like, could tell me if Splatter and Dodge reformed or not, please tell me if they have in the comments, because I would be interested. Now, in my, like, rewrite, I thought it would be nice to make Splatter and Dodge reform, and there's a scene where Diesel 10 yells at them and George, and they all quit. So, if you haven't seen Thomas and Magic Railroad rewritten made by me, please watch it. There are some things that I have tried to fix about Thomas and Magic Railroad that were broken, like the fact that this movie is not canon. That... Okay, I think one problem that people have with Thomas and Magic Railroad is that it's not canon. Like, this doesn't have any continuity. Like, they don't reference any of the classic Thomas episodes. All they do is say the characters' names, and they sing that song Really Useful Engine in one scene. But they don't mention any of the episodes. None of the other original characters appear. They don't acknowledge the fact that Sodor is a island on the northwest coast of England. They just, like, think of it as a magic place that you can only go to with gold dust and a magical lost engine. Which, I understand that, so I try to, like, make the movie as canon as I can. Like, you could say that I still have that thing where Thomas and the humans, like, appear, like, shot for shot. Like, it's Thomas, Shine Time, it cuts back to Thomas and the humans. Like, it still does that, but I've tried to, like, make a few references to the classic Thomas episodes. I will probably, like, try to, like, make the movie make more sense. Like, have the movie still take place on the northwest coast of England, but also have it still, like, have there be a way where you can actually travel faster than how you would normally travel to England if you live somewhere else, like America or the US. Or Shine Time Station, but I'm getting sidetracked. So, back to Splatter and Dodge. Now, I do not know what else to say about Splatter and Dodge. I mean, they're basically just a repaint of Diesel. Like, they're just Diesel 10's henchmen. They are a bit bumbling buffoons, if I'm being honest, like, which makes them interesting sidekicks for Diesel 10. I think Splatter and Dodge were just made for comic relief. I don't know. Please correct me if I'm wrong in the comments. If I am wrong, please tell me in the comments below if you think... If you actually, like, know what Splatter and Dodge, like... Now, I know their personalities, I know what their purpose is, I know they're Diesel 10's sidekicks, I just don't know that much about them. Like, I think they're just, like, side characters. That's what I'm gonna say. Alright, that was Splatter and Dodge, but I do love these characters. Now, here is the main man himself, the star of the show, and the mascot of the brand. Thomas the Tank Engine. Yes, the guy on the front cover, this is his movie, Thomas and the Magic Railroad. And he is what we want to see in the movie, but sadly, Thomas only appeared in the movie for 11 minutes. Now, what makes him different compared to, like, the original Bluebird Thomas? Well, he's painted in a metallic blue. He still has that red lining and all his details. Now, he is a bit more accurate than the original Bluebird Thomas, because, like, he doesn't have the cab doors like in the actual movie. And you could say that this Thomas doesn't have the cab doors as well, but I based this off of the actual Bluebird Thomas train, like, from the set Bluebird Thomas and Terrence's Quarry Adventure. Hold on. like, here's the 3 printed Bluebird Thomas next to the original Bluebird Thomas. There's a bit of differences between the two, like, there's a bit of a difference with Magic Railroad Thomas. And, like, you can call this Metallic Thomas if you want, but I'm calling him Magic Railroad Thomas. Now, I don't know really what else there is to say about Thomas that hasn't been said, other than he used to be cheeky in the original series, but then he, like, grown up to be more mature. But then Hit Entertainment came along and ruined his character entirely, but then Andrew Brenner came back and fixed him. So, yeah, like, I'm just gonna say this is just Thomas painted in a metallic blue, and, like, but I actually do think Thomas is a pretty nice character. Like, he was originally supposed to be voiced by John Bellis, but I don't think Eddie Glenn does that bad of a job as Thomas. Like, I know he might not be one of my favorite actors, considering that I love Joseph May and Martin Sherman. But I think that's all I have to say about Thomas. I mean, he's just Thomas. Like, what else is there to say about Thomas that hasn't been said by people already? Like, everyone knows who Thomas the Tank Engine is. This is a no-brainer. But actually, if you do love this Magic Railroad Thomas, please tell me. And which Thomas do you prefer? Do you like this one with the shiny metallic paint, or do you like this one with the normal blue paint? Please tell me in the comments below. And now, the grand finale. We are taking a look at my favorite female character, and possibly my favorite character of Thomas and the Magic Railroad, and that is Lady the Lost Engine. Yes, let's go. I actually really love Lady as a character. So, now Lady is probably like the biggest plot device in Thomas and the Magic Railroad. Now, unfortunately, like, I think Lady does get a bit of unnecessary hate by most people, and I don't know why people hate her. Like, there are actually a lot of people who actually do love Lady, including one of my favorite YouTubers, Agent Andrews. So, who is Lady as a character? Well, Lady is the lost engine that everyone is talking about in the movie. She's the one who, like, the engines want to find. She is the engine who is owned by Burnett Stone. And she's the character who Diesel 10, or PT Boomer if you want to, wants to destroy the lost engine. So, the whole movie is just like Mr. Conductor trying to make more gold dust, running out of gold dust as he visits the island of Sodor. The movie is about Diesel 10 coming to Sodor, wanting to destroy the lost engine. And the movie focuses on Burnett Stone looking after his lost engine and trying to make her work. Which he ends up doing. Like, Patch finds this special coal. Actually, it was Thomas who actually went to Muffle Mountain to bring Lily back home. And then he found the lost coal truck. He went to Muffle Mountain. He disappeared for a while but came back, which most people might be questioning. And he got the special coal for Lady the Lost Engine. They got her working, and now she has a face. And then, like, I'm going to say that my favorite part of the movie was Lady being brought back to life and the epic chase scene. How can we not forget this iconic chase scene where Diesel 10 is, like, trying to chase Thomas and Lady, and then they both defeat him by going across the collapsing viaduct. That is such an iconic moment in Thomas and Friends history. I would say that this is my favorite scene of the entire movie, and one of the biggest reasons why I love Magic Railroad. Also, I do love Lady as a character. I think her and Mr. Conductor are my favorite characters of Thomas and the Magic Railroad. And how can I not like Mr. Conductor? He's played by Alec Baldwin, one of the best actors in history. Here she is next to the faceless lady here. Now, there's a bit of sad history with this lady prop. Like, there was originally going to be, like, a thing called Restore the Magic, but it ended up being a scam, and this model got worse for wear over time, and which is very depressing. I really wish they could have restored Lady, the prop, so that she would look more like this, compared to what we actually got. But I actually do prefer, like, Lady with the face than without the face, because, like, it's the same case with, like, City of Turo. Like, I think the City of Turo was the first faceless engine, or Bluebell if you look at the Railway series, but I actually do love Lady a lot. Like, her shiny metallic purple paint, and her golden smokestack, and her gold lining, and her gold buffers. Like, everything about her just makes her unique. Now, she was the first engine who is not actually based off of a real-life engine, and she's voiced by Britt Allcroft, the show creator. How can you not get better than that? I really love Lady, and I think she is one of the best characters. Alright, so that was it. That was all the characters from Thomas and the Magic Railroad. Now again, I'm sorry for that frustrating rant that I had with Diesel 10 and PT Boomer. Listen, I'm not mad, but I'm just a little bit like, I just had to get that off my chest. Like, I actually do love Diesel 10 the most out of every Thomas villain. And I'm actually happy that we didn't get PT Boomer and we got Diesel 10 as the main villain. I'm sorry, I know most of you love PT Boomer, but I'm just not one of those people. So, if you love PT Boomer, I actually respect your opinion. And you are allowed to like PT Boomer. And you are allowed to hate Diesel 10 if you want to, but we all have our own opinions. Like, everyone has their own opinions, and we can like a character or we can hate a character. We don't always have to agree with our opinions, but we still do have opinions. Let that sink in. Alright, so, thanks for watching, and I hope you stay tuned for the TCR fleet, and I hope you're excited, Agent Andrews. And what do you think of these Thomas and the Magic Railroad trains? And who was your favorite character of Thomas and the Magic Railroad? Also, if you loved the movie or hated the movie, tell me in the comments below. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you next time. Bye!